Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Liars Club. I'm Felicia Michaels.
And I'm Jessica Wellington.
And what we do here at the Liars Club, for you guys that are just joining us for the first time, is we have some of our comedy pals come on. We ask them to tell two stories. One is the truth, one is a lie. We'll ask a bunch of questions. You can ask a bunch of questions because we're live right now on the Comedy Store YouTube. And then Austin here will relay your questions and your thoughts to us, and we'll have a grand old time. Right, Jessica?
We're going to have a ball.
Yes.
Can't wait. I've lost 12 pounds.
Okay. You have?
Yes, thank you.
You have? You've lost 12 pounds?
Very nice.
That's really
Already.
awesome. Wow.
Yeah, no carbs for like 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. So
Well, not none, but
right. What's the thing you miss the most?
just bread.
Yeah. Good for you, Jessica. That's a big feat for
Enjoy.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you introduce our wonderful guest, please?
I would love to. You look fabulous today, by the way.
Thank you. You do too.
Across from me, this lovely lady, originally from New York City. She is a LA comedian now. You can see her all over town. This is Jessica Inserra.
So happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. We can't
Yay.
wait.
Sorry, I had to move the fan.
We're having another double Italian day.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
So this gentleman started as a musician, but now he does comedy, right? You've seen him on Coming to the Stage, which was a TV show that he was funny on.
Okay. Way to go with the professionalism.
That's my credit. I used to be a musician, and I was on a show once.
Allegedly funny.
This is what I found online about you. I mean, I know the guy's
We're
nice.
just friends. We just what the fuck? Google your friends. I'm glad I was late.
I'm not done. Okay. So he was also nominated for a Shortly Award. Shorty.
1,000 years ago, no one gives a shit about
A Shortly Award. That
Just
doesn't sound good even. A
Fast forward
Shortly.
to the show. The show part of the show.
Shortly Awards are for projects that never get done.
I had a
done
good
shortly.
Vine once. I won a Shortly Award.
All right, well, a shorty for the funniest YouTube comedian because he's really funny on YouTube, and he does shows all around town. This is Mike Falzone.
Hello.
Yes, yay.
think you've
Thank
just
you
heard his
for
story.
coming to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I love you both very much.
Oh,
Yeah, very funny.
yay.
I think you might want to check your website though, because I think it says shortly.
That's hilarious. And once again, we have Austin Walker over here, and we have Michael Evans here in the control booth. Turn your camera on, give it a wave.
Yay, Michael.
And he is switching the camera for us, and a mighty fine gentleman along with our on-air producer, Austin Walker. Okay, so why don't we just jump into it? What do you say? Or would you like to chit-chat a little more?
I mean, I've had fun.
Okay, all right.
I've had my fill.
All right. So, Mike Falzone, why don't you go first? So, what we're going to do, though, is so you'll each will tell two stories, and we're going to rotate it around, and then afterwards, we'll make the big vote afterwards. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to put it to the table. Would you like to hear the story of my most embarrassing moment, or the first time a high school coach used my high school nickname?
Well, what was your high school nickname?
Is this part of the story?
Well, but the thing is, it seems to me those should be the same story.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would think.
Shortly.
When you have
Nickname
as
shortly?
many,
Yeah.
I mean, we're all comedians. When you've had
Uh-huh.
as many embarrassing moments,
I
it's tough
love
to.
embarrassing moments. Go with that.
Okay, we'll do that.
Right?
Yeah, I like
This is my most
yeah.
embarrassing moment.
Okay.
As a child and as a grown man, both, I am an extremely large wrestling fan. It's my favorite thing in the world. Pro
Still?
wrestling.
Still?
Still,
Yeah?
yes.
I
It's
feel
not
like
great, but
it's
it's
got
still
a big resurgence too.
always kind of.
Yeah.
It's just part of the Americana experience.
Oh, for sure. Even as a kid, my dad took me to go see wrestling, and there was a
You
guy.
went to go to a live one?
Oh, yeah. I did too.
Oh yeah, but
The
it was
Undertaker.
like, yeah, it was not good. It wasn't a fancy one, but it was like where a guy wrestled a bear.
Yeah.
And I remember there's this
Sometimes
woman.
you got to put a bear in the place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And there was this old woman. I remember this. must have been like 9 years old. And there's this old woman. She had no teeth, and she was sitting right next to me, and she kept yelling, "Kill the bear! Kill the bear!" And that I was like, this is some deep shit here in Stockton, California.
She might have just been worried about her safety. It might have just. She was the security
I
guard.
think she was not worried about her safety.
Wow, you
supposed to
got
be
to
another
see a bear and a man wrestle.
and he wrestled for a beer.
Oh
The
shit!
bear wrestled for a beer.
Did the bear win?
The bear fucking won. Of course
Yeah.
the bear won.
Tough to
Why
beat a
the
bear.
Doesn't the bear always?
That's the first rule of wrestling: is that it's notoriously tough to beat a bear.
That's right.
Everybody
What I
knows
want to
that.
know is, did you ever watch Glow and Pow like I did?
I watched Glow. I watched a documentary on Glow. Does that count?
No, I grew up obsessed with ladies wrestling.
Oh, shit.
No surprise.
Well, there were ladies in the
Shocker.
wrestling that I saw, but they weren't involved in the same way.
no.
This isn't part of the
Farmer's
story.
Okay.
daughter.
Sorry, we got on a tangent.
So I too went to a live wrestling event,
Okay.
and my favorite wrestler of all time is called Bret the Hitman Hart. It's a Canadian
I know
hero.
him.
Yes.
I know him.
Pink and black attack, so on and so forth. So you might recall that Bret Hart did a thing where he would come down to ringside. He was like the ultimate good guy, and he had these cool ass glasses,
Oh, yeah.
and he would give them to a small fan at all times. It was like part of his entrance.
Small. You didn't have to be a kid, just small.
Just had to be small. You could be
Just
83.
shortly.
It would be the size of a kid. Have a head size of a kid. So we were at the New Haven Coliseum in Connecticut, and it was an untelevised show, but I still, on TV, you see everyone reaching out and they get the hand slaps from the wrestlers. So that's all I wanted to do. So every time a wrestler came out, I would bolt up to the barricade and I stick my little hand out, and they all missed me except for, skipping a lot of stuff, when Bret Hart came out. And Bret Hart saw me, and I was like, dude, this is like seeing Batman in real life. It's insane. You see a real life superhero. So he came out and he touched my hand, and I was like, okay, he touched my hand. That's it. He's going to go give the glasses something else. You know, I can't have the hand slap and the glasses. That's too much.
Even
right?
as
And I already had a
kid, even as a little kid,
Aiming
you were,
low.
Yeah.
you aimed low like that.
well, yeah, right. And I was the shortest of the bunch, and I recognized my privileged upbringing, so I'm like, I can't have both of those things. There's no way. Right? So then he made a loop around, and I guess some kids were being dicks because he came around and he gave me the glasses. And he put the glasses on my little head, and he adjusted them with his thumbs, and he said something, I don't remember what he said. It was all like, won't, like that. And I peed a little bit in my pants.
Oh, I hope this is the truth.
And I don't
I'm
know
not
that
upset
he
about it because
noticed.
I peed a little bit in my pants today in the beginning, laughing.
Please, I've
you know
shit
how
my
easy it
pants.
is.
Please.
But have you shit your pants in front of Bret the Hitman Hart, Canadian
no, I
hero?
have not shit my pants in front of any wrestlers.
So basically, that's my embarrassing story is I peed in my pants in front of Bret Hart, but
So
I'm not sure that
how-
he noticed.
Oh, so how? Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. First off, is how much urine? Like how much did you pee?
Probably like half a full
Like
pee.
actual volume.
Yeah.
Like enough that I had to hide it. I had to tell my dad, and then I had to hide it. And then I pretended to spill a snow cone on it.
Smart.
Yeah.
So I had cherry pissed my pants.
What kind of pants were you wearing?
I was wearing dungarees.
We just named the episode Cherry Pissed My
Cherry
Pants. Episode
It felt like
407.
someone else pissed my pants.
So
Hey,
it's a great title.
somebody online wants to know if you still have the glasses.
Oh, still have the glasses for sure.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
do?
they were in rough shape. He would sign all of them, so it said
Uh-huh.
like to my biggest fan or whatever. They were all like generically signed, and then be like
Uh-huh.
Bret Hart.
Huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And what color are they?
They're pink. They're
Yeah.
bright pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Dude,
That
I
was-
love you guys' reading faces.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard to believe that this is your most embarrassing
Yeah.
moment. Because
Yeah, this is my hero.
Far
moment.
worse.
Because Jess knows you.
And how old were
I
you?
should have said my first embarrassing moment.
How old were you?
How old was I?
Uh huh.
8.
8.
Yeah.
Why'd you pee your pants? You
Because I
just-
was so excited. I'm an only child. I didn't get out much.
Uh-huh.
And then you're in front of your hero. And everybody's screaming. That's a piss
Wow.
pants situation.
Yeah, and he got the hand slap and the glasses.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
That's a 2 times.
Did you ever have fear after that whenever you would get excited? Oh, fuck, I might piss my pants again.
Only if the guy was like 6'6".
Is there a snow cone? Does anyone have a snow cone? Andy.
I actually piss every time I see snow cone.
Were you holding, were you holding
Pavlovian
this?
response.
I'm so sorry. Were you holding the snow cone as it happened?
No.
Okay.
Snow cone was back at the seat, and then
Uh-huh.
it was a diversion tactic.
The snow cone was back at the seat.
with his dad.
My dad.
Oh, so your dad was at the seat with a snow cone,
Yes.
and you ran up. So
Yes.
without your father.
Every time the
Yeah.
wrestlers would come out, from behind the whatever backstage area, I would
Right.
run up to get a
Right.
touchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you make any? Also, it's like a short leave, but it's a touchy.
Yeah, I was
All
gonna
right.
say. I was gonna say Mike won a touchy as well.
Yeah. I was nominated for a touchy.
You
that
probably
day.
won a lot of touchies, Falzone.
Now, was it just you and your dad and no other friends?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did you make one of those signs or anything?
No. I wasn't ever a great speller as a kid, so I wouldn't want to risk it in public.
Right.
Can I ask a question?
Of course you may.
Who was the opponent?
Oh, that was an
Yokozuna.
audience question. I was just about
Good
to ask.
question.
Yokozuna. Yeah. I think he was like 500 pounds. He was a Samoan guy that they told everyone he was Japanese, so he could be a sumo wrestler.
Mhm.
Yeah. Any more questions, audience?
Wow.
All right.
Wow. How much do you think those glasses are worth?
Maybe signed they're worth a lot more, but I've seen them go online for like $6.
Okay.
But there's no way to prove. There's no way to prove that I wasn't the one who was like, "Be the best," Bret Hart or whatever.
That's true.
You know?
Very
Was it a
true.
televised event?
No, this was what they call a house show.
Road show or whatever?
Yeah.
It's so funny because I have such a burned-in memory of that woman yelling "Wrestle the Bear" that I can only imagine that wrestling events that are that bad can only happen in Stockton, California. Like when you say New Haven, Connecticut, in my mind, I'm like, why the fuck would people in Connecticut watch wrestling? Because to
it
me
was
it
a
was such a
phenomenon.
yeah, for sure. But for me, it was such a specific type of audience that I thought only existed in
Well, yeah, in different regions they do it
Right.
different. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
right.
in North Carolina they probably have somebody that wrestles coons. You know, and then
What?
in Florida you have somebody that wrestles alligators.
uh-huh.
It's
Right.
all animals until you get to the Northeast. Then it's Canadians only.
All right.
Bring another greasy Canadian down.
Yeah, in Arizona they wrestle rattlesnakes.
Well, they might just
Stone
catch
Cold
him.
Steve
They might
Austin.
just catch him. I don't know about wrestling. I don't know how. You know what I mean?
You're getting confused with wrangling. Right?
Yeah, wrangling. Yes, yes.
Pro wrangling.
Wow, you know what? I love that your story is, and I love dirty, filthy stories, but I love that it's so out of the box and not typical in a sense. You know,
Right.
Like, yeah, I like that. It's original.
Neither of them are filthy.
was
I
wholesome.
apologize for
No. This is a game. I mean, this is a podcast, but it's also a game.
Mhm.
So we want you guys got to win. So
Oh, we
Trick
could
us.
win?
yeah,
Well, if you fool us.
yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Nice.
Great.
All right, let's start.
Ante-upped.
There you
Yeah,
go.
right.
All right.
And on those beautiful words, it's your turn.
Oh, okay. So I got All right. So I'm going to start with a story about a trip to Japan I took a few years back. It was a last-minute trip. My best friend that I work with popped into
A
my
last
office.
minute trip
Yeah.
to Japan.
It was, yeah. My girlfriend of mine pops into my office and she's like, "Want to go to Tokyo tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I do." Okay. So I ended up going up on this very last-minute trip, getting a flight, going for a week with her, most of which we were together. And then the last couple of nights I was on my own, and I had a corporate deal at the Peninsula Tokyo, so I decided to splurge and get myself a suite at the Peninsula for my last 2 nights. So I'm like, what am I going to do with my last 2 nights in Tokyo? Of course, I want to go check out the gay scene in Tokyo, which is
That was like the last
That's-
thing.
I know.
I was
Nobody-
all like-
nobody-
I'm like,
I thought you were gonna be like,
karaoke?
is there anyone wrestling a bear?
yeah. So I wanted to check out because the scene is notoriously like still, a subculture. It's still pretty taboo there. So, and things aren't advertised, but there is a distinct, like a known area. But of course, like the house car of the peninsula is a Rolls Royce. So I decided to take the house car to this kind of seedy, like gay area of downtown Tokyo. And which in and of itself was problematic because I think the driver was looking at me like he couldn't believe that he had to take me there.
I'm just imagining like the rich guy from Pretty Woman driving up.
There you go. I go rolling into the Nicome district in a Rolls, and I'm all by myself, and I don't know what I'm going to find. Oh, but I had Googled, and I found a place called Goldfinger, which,
Seems
frankly, to me, the
promising.
story ends right there.
right.
Found it.
That is good enough. Like, whatever comes after, that's irrelevant. But so I find Goldfinger, which has online reviews that say it's mixed, it's gay, it's pretty friendly to Americans. Because a lot of, like, I don't know if you know about Japan, but a lot of establishments, like even restaurants, can be closed to foreigners, but particularly gay places because, they're like
Right.
a notoriously insular culture, and it's even more so with, the gay culture. So, but I get there, I'm greeted really warmly. The woman who takes my money is English speaking, cute little butch girl, lets me in. I get a beer. I feel pretty relaxed and at home. It's mixed, men and women. I don't see any other Americans, so I'm sticking out like a sore thumb. There's karaoke going on, and I'm like, sweet, karaoke. I love to sing karaoke, so I put my name in to sing karaoke.
Sing a little Joan Jett.
I did my that would have been an appropriate choice, certainly.
Sing a little Melissa Etheridge. Reference all of them now. Is that what we're gonna do? Jesus.
Little Indigo Girls.
Katie Lee.
Do you have close to define? Close. No, I did. I don't know. I did my standard. I always do like Alicia Keys. And so I did my song, and some really beautiful, Japanese girl walks up to me, and I think she enjoyed my singing, and she was like, pretty song. And then she pet my face, and she went, so pretty, look like Angelina Jolie and Cameron Diaz. And I was basically like, I love Tokyo. This is my town.
This is how they see me.
I'm like, yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I have no illusions about actually looking like an amalgam of those two hot girls.
When you said that, though, I totally see it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes,
No. It's
yes.
basically that. It's just true in the reverse when, they see a Caucasian person. We kind of all look alike.
I don't think so. I see it.
Well, thank you. I'll take.
I mean,
I'll take
fuck
that
these
again.
three that aren't backing me up on it. Come on, you guys are like, no.
I just want you to know I appreciate the enthusiasm with which you agreed. Thank you.
You guys are like, what the fuck is
Thank
Felicia up to? That's some bullshit. Like, you guys looking at me like,
Maybe if you've only
Pass.
heard about those people.
Thank you, Mike.
Right. I mean, you're very pretty.
finally,
This-
finally, Jessica, Jesus.
This was not a referendum on my looks.
I know, but.
Although,
But I'm just saying I can see
Now
that
I'm
because
mortified.
I've seen Cameron Diaz in person. Like when I was younger, I actually auditioned for The Mask, and there's nothing no shit, and there's nothing worse than going into an audition and seeing Cameron Diaz walk
Oh,
out of
God.
one, and you're like, oh yeah, that's gonna happen.
I
Because
just
she was a very beautiful woman, but I could see because you have like
I just was tickled that,
Yeah,
that
of
they
course,
see
but I
like
see it.
feminine,
Yeah,
like American
yeah.
Girl, and they just like make you into a star.
Two
it's
movie
It's
stars.
very cute. Very,
Were you
very
wearing
cute.
a dress?
Probably not. I don't often, but definitely not. But hopefully I was looking cute. And but-
Probably, definitely not.
no, definitely. I don't wear dresses. No. I don't mean like I was probably in jeans, like whatever I would wear to a gay bar, not super dressed up, but hopefully looking cute, and definitely interested in this girl. But she's really, other than that, really spoke no English. So I ended up like linking up with
that's
her.
probably her line she says to everybody. You put Austin in a wig there, and she'd be like,
You
"Oh,
are probably right about that.
Angelina Jolie.
That's her first words of English, and I fucking love it."
She probably gets all the girls that way, and I was no exception. And I link up with this girl and her group of friends.
You don't remember her name?
Her name is Arissa.
Arissa.
Yeah, so cute. I know.
I have something to say, but I'm not sure if it's a good thing
Go
to say.
ahead. You gotta say it now.
No, I'm going to
No.
retract it.
No, you gotta say it. You gotta say it.
Fully retract
You
it.
gotta say it.
What was her name?
Arissa.
Was it?
That was not spelled with an L, you racist fuck. I knew where it was going.
This was
you
nice.
can't call him a racist fuck when you did the impression of
That's
it.
true.
by the
That's
way.
true.
I'm just saying.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
I
if we're
do-
gonna call it. Let's fucking call it.
I do an impression like that in my act, and then I generally follow up by saying, but I asked my friend if it was racist, and she said it was okay, and I took her word for it because she's an Oriental.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
I never get grown.
Yeah.
I get laughed.
I asked my one Asian friend
That's
if
my
it
one
was
Asian.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
We
There
just had a disagreement on some Asian
I'm
stuff,
trying
so
so
I
hard
know-
to not say anything at all right now, and you're gonna bring that.
We- I know, because we had this big thing of Bert Kreischer's. We're making a Bert Kreischer animation when he did the podcast.
And he has two Asian best friends.
right.
So I know a scary amount about him. Right. So I was knowing all this stuff, and he was like, "So me and my wife and our best friends." I was like, "They're Asian."
Asian. Your best friends are Asian. Like she says it like
So Felicia tells me to go in and add some like little audio and
Yeah,
sound
yeah, like,
effects
make it
to the
fun.
thing.
Uh-huh.
I put some great ones in there. I
They were
left.
awesome, except for.
She still loved it, so don't let her
No.
lie to you. She still laughed her ass off. She calls me and she's like, dude, everything's great, but kung fu fighting?
Oh,
Really?
yeah, I knew that was coming.
And it was just a
Yeah.
little bit of ho 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 dun 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 dun.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
right as he it was
That
just
is
faint.
so racist.
It was right
Canceled.
underneath.
It made me laugh because I was like, he fucking is so stupid.
Bert
stupid.
would have loved it.
No, you don't do that to
Bert would
someone's
love it.
friends. You don't do that to someone's friends.
We're all learning.
All right.
Yeah, all right.
I
Anyway.
feel thoroughly shamed.
No. Please continue your
I didn't
beautiful
think
story.
I didn't think it was racist if it was an actual impression of what happened, but
Okay.
but no, I am sensitive. There was one girl in the group that spoke English. The thrust of the story is that I was trying to hit on this girl and vice versa, but she didn't speak English, and so but there was another girl there who I have to refer to as translator because I didn't even get her name.
That's
I mean,
a good nickname.
She might have told me, but I don't remember. And so we end up leaving that club, and they take me to this really cool secret lesbian bar, which I could digress because even that was like an Alice in Wonderland, like down the rabbit hole adventure.
I just can't imagine that a bunch of women kept anything secret.
Felicia, I'm telling you, it's amazing.
I'm
Because
sure,
these
yeah.
lesbian bars are like unmarked. They're in buildings. They're like some of them are on like the 5th or
Oh,
6th
really?
floor. It's not like New York
Yeah.
where stuff is on the ground floor. It's so densely populated there that a lot of restaurants and clubs are on higher floors. And so you'll see like 5F, 6F because they're on higher
I heard
levels.
that's good in Asia too to keep away from the mosquitoes.
I
I'm
mean,
serious. Dude.
could be in more tropical environments. Maybe
Yeah.
not so much Tokyo.
Is
But
that
like
some of your Air Force knowledge there?
that's not that was like official recon. She's like keep them skeeters away.
The best way to avoid mosquitoes is to be in a building.
And the top floor though.
Because they can't fly that high. Is that why?
It helps
They
for
can-
penises
They
too.
can only fly up to like 2nd floor.
I'm just
Mosquitoes die after everybody.
Yeah.
You know, recently I wondered where flies go at night.
Uh-huh.
And apparently they just sleep anywhere, but they don't.
Bunch of homeless vagrants.
Yeah. But I didn't know flies went to sleep.
Interesting.
But I was like, you don't really see them at night. Where do they
Uh-huh.
go?
This
Right.
entomology lesson I'm getting.
Yeah. I didn't think I was going to learn
Care
this
to
much
comment
today.
on the recent grasshopper invasion in Vegas that's
In
happening?
Vegas?
Did
They
you learn
don't
about
go to
that?
the
Did you
3rd
hear about
floor.
Probably not.
No, I think they went all over though. I'm very curious
Oh.
about that. Anyway, so
It's
you
crazy.
go to the secret bar.
Oh, sorry.
Secret bar. I walk into this bar. No joke. It's the size of this room, and it's like literally the length of a bar
Uh-huh.
and the width of the seats at the bar and one row of seats,
Okay.
adjacent to that. So there can't have been more than packed. This bar had maybe 12 women. I walk in. Only American, and it's like one of those record scratch moments where
Oh.
everyone like looks, and I'm
Oh,
like,
neat.
"Hi guys, I've been told I look like Cameron Diaz and Angelina Jolie." So I go in, I sit in the corner, and now I'm between Arissa and the translator,
Uh-huh.
and I'm trying to make time with this girl, and
Did she
Arissa
actually
with
did
an
she-
R.
Did she write her name down for you though?
Yes. Poor girl. I thought it was such a pretty name. Like,
No, it's a
Arissa.
beautiful
So pretty.
name. He made me think it. He made
But it
me
is pretty funny. You kind of get. I knew you were gonna go. But now she'll be. I'm trying to flirt with her, but I can only flirt through the translator.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and so she'll be. So the girl will be. She'll say to the translator like, tell Jessica she's pretty, and the translator will be like, oh, she says you're pretty. And I would be like, tell her she's really pretty too. And I think the translator liked me because she'd be like, she has a girfriend, right? And so like
shit.
she would keep translating and then essentially cock block her.
Yeah.
And so this was happening all night. Like I'm trying to flirt with
So
this
she
girl.
was saying that Arissa has a girlfriend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we would be trying to flirt
Uh-huh.
through this translator.
Worst threesome ever.
But
Yeah.
didn't know. I never knew if my compliment was ever getting relayed accurately, or she would relay a compliment or like a flirtation, and she would always like
God,
editorialize.
Did it,
and-
I would have said, "That's okay. I have a husband."
Yeah.
That's what I would have lost my shit.
I was sort of like, so do I. So this proceeded. Then we went to this restaurant that was Madonna themed. This all night restaurant. I didn't even know this existed. This is like a fun, weird highlight that.
Like Madonna, the singer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like all Madonna posters on the wall, all Madonna music. It was so rad. I was like, I can't believe this exists. I don't know why I'm surprised because it's very Japanese. But so that's where we ended up, and the night is waning and it's getting to that point where I'm like, how am I going to get this girl back to my suite with the translator? Like, clearly she's not going to help this happen. So I figure out that I'm going to have to invite both of them if I'm going to try to get this girl back to my hotel room. So with a not fully formulated plan, that's what I do. I'm like, oh, let's not let the night end. Let's all go back to my hotel room, which we do. And Peninsula is amazing. They like have bottles of wine laid out for you.
That's sweet.
It's yeah. I was like totally wanted to take advantage of it. And the bathroom and the the closet, the walk-in closet is like bigger than most hotel rooms. So we get to the hotel room, we open a bottle of wine, and then Arissa wants to use the restroom, and translator's like, she needs to use the bathroom, and I'm like, oh sweet, like you have to see how amazing it is. Let me show you. And so we go into the bathroom / like closet. It was like an antechamber, for God's sake. And we start making out in that room. Because
Jesus, took you long enough to fucking get to that part of the story.
I was like, God, come on!
It's true.
We want to hear.
Right. So we start hooking up in the closet, ironically, and because we're not going to do it in front of translator, and we obviously must.
She's listening, obviously.
Well,
right?
no, we weren't loud.
Were
No, we were in another room with the door closed. So no, we were
She's
quiet.
on the other
but
side
we
of the
were-
doorway, like, she said it's good.
She says, "Ooh, yeah," she said.
Right.
Can you tell her to chew a little bit? Chew a little bit.
Exactly. That's what I fully expect she was doing. She was probably like on the other side of the door because eventually she was like, hello, and I was like, oh, we'll be right out. And then I hear something a little more like angry in tone in Japanese. And then Arissa responds to her in Japanese. Like, who knows? Maybe she was like, give us a minute or mind your effing bit. I don't know. I don't know what transpired. Because then I hear a door slam. And I think, oh, coast is clear. She got the point and she removed herself, which I would have done. I mean, I would have done it a lot sooner. I mean, it was obvious there was chemistry between me and the girl.
Spin to this story is that translator was her girlfriend.
Oh, that would be a great reveal. But no, that was no.
So what is the
No,
review?
She has
spin
a
to the story is we go out of the closet thinking she's left and bitch faked us out. She was still in the room.
What?
Yeah, so we walk out there thinking, oh, the coast is clear. They start arguing in Japanese. I have no idea to this day what they said. Translator storms out, and we get busy.
Oh man.
So you don't know that could have been her girlfriend.
You're right. It could have been, but
You don't know?
I feel like that would have been more obvious.
There would have been punching. I think.
I'm sure that she was friends with her girlfriend if
Yeah,
they were
that's
friends.
what I think. Yeah, I didn't get the sense that the actual
Yeah.
girlfriend was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Ken wants to know what.
Yeah, he does.
Ken wants to know a lot more about the kissing part.
He's like, and then?
I forgot for a second that we had an audience. Oh shit.
Ken's very turned on. We're
Oh,
trying to run
God.
now.
I just turned this to a very different show.
But he did want to know what a last-minute flight like that to Japan.
Are you
It's an
fucking
excellent
kidding? Oh,
question.
I mean, I get it.
Well,
'Cause
I'm starting from the
he's
top.
playing
We
the
hadn't-
game.
well,
Okay,
and we
he's
hadn't
playing.
got to
Okay,
that
he's
part
playing the
yet
game.
It was
in
All
that
less.
right.
story,
It was
so.
less than
I was like,
$1,000.
that's the
Yeah.
question.
Less than
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
not cheap, but I think for the day before, less than $1,000.
But
I
they
was
didn't
like,
press you at all, like Border Patrol, for going just a quick little flight in and out. I've been watching a lot of Border Patrol on Netflix, and
No.
since like JFK Airport, they're not cool with people just going in and out.
Right.
Quick
I've
and-
never been asked to go last minute somewhere that far. I mean,
Mhm.
at
Yeah.
the most, like, you want to go to Myrtle Beach tomorrow?
I know.
But here's
Me
my
either.
question, and I'll
Begging
piggyback
people.
on Ken's question. What about the suite? How much did that cost?
Suite was probably with my discount, maybe about $400 a night. It wasn't.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
And how long ago was this?
About 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I get a
Oh.
corporate discount because my day job, working for a plastic surgeon, we send all our patients to recover at the Peninsula in Beverly Hills. So
Oh,
they
you
have,
do?
they have reciprocity with Tokyo. So I call my people. I'm like, what can you
Probably-
do for me in Japan?
Maybe shouldn't have said that out loud.
No?
Yeah.
Is that bad?
What's the
No, I
promo
don't
code
know.
for that peninsula suite?
Nip and tuck. Wow, that's it. I love that story. Wow, that's a great story too. I love it. I love it.
How long ago was that?
About 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Did you
Any
go
other
back
questions?
to the hotel when you took everybody back? Did you go back in the Rolls
I
Royce?
knew you were going to ask. No, we didn't. We just taxied it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Rolls Royce is like, I'm not coming back.
No. I would
And did you keep in touch with her after?
We did exchange a few emails after, yes,
Uh-huh.
and it was very cute. Like,
Oh, yeah, Google Translate.
Exactly. And I mean, the extent of the emails were like, Arissa, Mrs. Jessica, and hopes that she returns to Japan.
That's
soon.
adorable.
It was very cute. Yeah.
Very sweet.
But I didn't ever see her again.
Oh.
And then I got into a
Alright.
relationship. So
Michael,
She's
do you have
heartbroken.
any thoughts on these stories?
Yeah, not once has the name Arissa been said without everybody smiling.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to believe both stories so far. Usually I'd have more to say by now, but I just got to hear the second ones because like a lot
Yeah.
of details. I like both the stories.
Yeah.
It seems pretty legit to me.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So let's move on to your second story, Mike.
Okay. This is the first time my high school coach ever used my high school nickname. My high school nickname was Struggles.
Struggles.
Yes, I made a lot of the sports teams, but I never played.
Oh my god,
A
I'm gonna
lot.
tear up. That's so cute.
It's not one of those. I
Struggles.
wasn't a kid you'd
Stop
want to
it.
root
What?
for.
Struggles? That's adorable.
I was the annoying try-hard kid. I wasn't the kid who's like,
Yeah.
you could do it. You're the kid who like, you're on the team for sure. They have an extra jersey or something.
Oh,
I was
okay.
that kid.
Right.
So I made all the teams, but I never really played, like mostly JV, but not varsity. Basketball specifically, I would come early to practice. I would do like 100 free throws. I would stay after practice, and the coach would be like, just get out of the gym. There's no reason for you to try harder. You're not going to play more. So everybody called me Struggles. The kids called me Struggles. After a while, the coaches did. But the first time a coach did it, it was on the baseball team. And I wanted to pitch really bad. And I wasn't a
Jesus.
starter. I was a relief pitcher, right? But maybe 75% of the way through the season, they're like, we're going to start you this one game. So make sure you're warmed up. We take the bus to Brookfield, Connecticut. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm going to start. I look down and I don't have my socks, my blue socks, but I have all these sweatbands.
Uh-huh.
So I take the sweatbands that are supposed to go on my wrist from like
Right,
here to here,
right.
and I put them on my
Fair enough,
shin. So
yeah.
it looks like I have socks, which would have worked if somebody didn't stooge on me to the coach.
Mhm.
So somebody was like, we let you start and you don't remember
Your
your
socks?
socks. You're
Yeah.
ridiculous. And this kind of shit happened all the time. But he's like, whatever. We'll look past the socks thing. Don't get any sand in your shoes. It's going to be terrible. So that's what they call it, baseball sand. It's dirt. They call it. I don't know why I said sand. So we get to the place and they're like, go grab a ball and go warm up in right field. So I grab a ball and there's like a bucket of balls next to a trash can. And I reach down and I try to get a ball and I hit my head on a jagged, rusty edge of the trash can. Right? And I think I'm sweating because it's hot. So I wipe my brow and it's just covered in
She
blood.
loves injury stories.
Loves it. Can't get enough. So I hit my head and I'm like, oh, I just hit my hand. I wipe it and there's blood all over my hand. Right. And I'm like, dude, first the socks thing. And now they're never going to let me pitch. I'm covered in blood.
This sounds like me, dude. Like anytime I have something important going on, like it seems like everything goes wrong.
Yeah. So you know how possible it is.
Yes.
So I turn around. Coach calls my name. I turn around and there's just like a little bit, but enough of blood streaming down my face. Right. It doesn't hurt or whatever, but like there's not much here. There's just like your skull and skin. So it bleeds a lot.
Yeah.
Right. So I turn around, I have blood streaming down my face, and the coach goes, Struggles, what did you do? It was the first time I ever heard a grown-up say it. And it broke my heart, and I sat on the bench for the rest of the
How
day.
old were you?
This was probably sophomore year in high school. So like 15, 16.
Sophomore year?
Is this
Yeah.
like before they gave trophies just for participating?
No, that was before. Like in Little League, they give everyone trophies. But
How
high school,
old
like
are you?
coaches don't even have to be nice to you in high
How old
school.
are you, Mike?
Right now,
Uh-huh.
34.
Uh-huh.
So you didn't get to start that day?
Did not get to start that day. And then next time I did start, some kid hit it off me and it went over a bus. Like there's the fence and then the parking lot and then the bus and it went over the bus.
Now, is this high school
This is high
baseball
school.
or not Little League?
High school baseball,
High
JV.
school.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm sorry that my
funny.
stories aren't long.
Yeah. No, it's good. That's good.
Raver Basher would like to see a reenactment of the lesbian kissing. Revisit that.
We hate this story. Can you tell the other one again?
Sorry about that,
That's
but
hysterical.
hilarious.
only if Mike plays the other girl.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Just for added effects, I'll start bleeding out of my forehead. So we
What I want to know is, do you now have a booming business doing children's parties as Struggles the Clown?
Struggles the Clown is all I
You're the
heard the whole
baseball
time.
clown.
yeah, it's always a viable
Yeah.
option. I do not at this time, but I wouldn't not.
Can you name one of your special struggles?
Struggle.
It's so good. With just you and a red nose, like.
Yeah, red nose, little trickle of blood. out of my-
Netflix logo.
I have a question because I'm thinking about your story. And you're saying that because you were the guy that always struggled, you never got to do anything, and then miraculously they're gonna let you pitch first on a game.
Yeah, you run out of good kids real fast in high school. So all the good kids are either like sore or there's a pitching rotation, and I'm like the last person in the rotation.
I smell deception.
Yeah, and then you said to her, "Yeah, so it does sound plausible." You said something like that to Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
That seems weird.
Because you
would
gotta
say that.
sneak little words in.
Yeah, yeah.
I think some. My
Keep in
bet-
mind, I was nominated for a
Dude.
Shortly Award.
I
can do anything.
I'm going to venture a guess that the story is not entirely fabricated, but that you are not Struggles.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Somebody else on
that's
that
what
team
I was
was
thinking.
struggles.
That's what I was thinking when he was telling the story. I was thinking the exact same thing.
I brought all this around just to still be a high school bully.
Yeah.
Take that, Struggles.
I mean, I will say that I know from your website that you were a musician at the age of 15. So a lot of musicians don't play sports.
Yeah.
That
Yes,
wouldn't
yes.
Right? There, that's not cool.
But 15, is that sophomore? 15 is sophomore.
be.
Right?
Yeah.
Who was the guy who sang that song Glory Days? All about pitching?
Springsteen?
Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
That guy.
That guy.
He had all those bandanas
That
and he played
one-hit
sports.
wonder.
Yeah. That's a very good point because my sons both did baseball and music, but they never did it together at the
Right.
same time.
Where'd you go to?
So hard to play guitar. And
See,
No, I'm
it's
just
hard-
saying,
it's hard to
like
do.
in a school year or
Sure.
in a semester.
right.
You fuck. Anyway, so you struggler.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school at Bunnell, Frank Scott Bunnell High School in Stratford.
Oh shit!
Connecticut.
Someone's googling it now.
It's easily verifiable.
What about you, Michael? Did you ever play baseball?
I did play baseball.
And what are
yeah.
your thoughts on this story?
It sounds legit in terms of him talking about, like, I know that there's an inning limit at that age for how much you can pitch in a week. So it is possible that the other pitchers in the rotation had hit their limit and they need a guy to throw.
Mike's face looks like, thank you.
That also sounds plausible. Plausible as fuck.
And you're saying he might not have been Struggles, but imagine a dude with sweatbands for socks, pink Hitman the Hart sunglasses on
Yeah.
the baseball bus, and then with blood all over his head. That dude sounds like Struggles to me.
With Bret the Heart.
Yeah.
Bret the Hitman Hart sunglasses.
I will also say that it is accurate that the forehead bleeds a lot.
That's true.
Everybody
That's
knows
very
that.
true. But to hit your head on a
I
garbage
didn't know that,
thing,
though.
yeah, you didn't know that.
That your head
Very
bleeds a lot?
vascular area.
Yeah, you like even if you like my son once a little thing of like something fell off the fireplace and skimmed his head like a little shard, and he was like, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's scary.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna move it on. I have questions, but we're gonna save it till the end.
Yeah.
And what is your second story?
Okay, second story. This time I'm in New York on a trip. I am at the Cubby Hole, another fun lesbian bar name, and I'm with my friend Catherine.
Is that code for cubbyhole for?
Cubby
For
Hole.
vagina.
I didn't know.
I don't
didn't-
even think it's
yeah.
code.
Oh, I didn't know. I don't know. I didn't know it was called the cubby hole. I didn't know.
I
I'm
think it's
sorry.
straight
I've
up
only been talking about
choke.
pussy for 30 fucking years as a professional, and I've never
You
heard
never heard
the
that?
cubby hole.
No.
No,
I can't
no.
believe we taught you something about
I
a
know.
vagina.
Wow.
I love to enlighten, and educate. So I'm with my friend Catherine, who's straight, but she's hilarious. She's Catherine Narducci. She's an actress. She was on like Sopranos, and like she was like the mom in Bronx Tales. So she's got a hysterical,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
funny,
That's a great.
great
I love that
accent.
movie.
Yeah,
Is
she's
it the blonde lady that also played Nurse Jackie?
no.
She's dark hair.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
dark hair, very Italian looking. Grew up in I think she grew up in Harlem. Really great accent, and she's a fun wing woman in a gay bar. This trip turned into like lesbian dating game very quickly, with my friend Catherine being like the Chuck Woolery, because all these like contestants. I was single at the time, and I was there to maybe meet somebody.
Right.
But all these contestants started to emerging, and Catherine started to be like, yeah, I like her. No, I don't like this one. Like, she was just like officiating. One woman was like this very sweet but earnest grad student who was like very intent on like giving me, it was like PowerPoint presentation on why we should date and why we should go out. And it was hilarious. And then contestant number 2 was a pair of young blondes. They were a couple, and they were trying to invite me into, I suppose, a throuple. And I was like, girls, I could be your mother. And then contestant number 3 emerges, and she was like the cute normal one, kind of like soft butch. She was a producer, very funny. And she was like the last of the prospects.
I don't think we've had any lesbian stories on this show. Thank
Really?
you.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so let me ask you a
Punky
question.
Johnson didn't stalk a woman.
Yeah,
in
yes,
her
I
We
love
apologize, Punky. We really liked that story. It was a good
The
one.
best story ever.
I love Punky.
bad.
I'm literally always happy to follow Punky. Yeah, so it was just it was a funny night, mostly because Catherine was deciding who I should and should not hook up with. And then the third girl comes in, her name is Megan, and she's really cute. And Catherine's like, yeah, her. I like her. Like H-U-H. You know? And she's like, yeah, she's the one I picked for you. Like, you should go home with her. And I'm like, and that's basically how we leave off. Like, Catherine bundles me into I guess it must have been a taxi. I don't know, things were a little fuzzy that night. I remember I was staying in a hotel, cannot remember which, Midtown. It wasn't a fancy place because I was there for work. And the girl came back to my hotel, and it was a pretty innocent night. It was late and we were hammered, and we just had a hot makeout session and fell asleep. However, back home, I was at the beginning stages of a relationship. We weren't serious yet, but I was really into the girl, and I thought it was going to become serious. And so I wake up in the morning and I like panic with guilt, even though I didn't even sleep with this girl. I was just remember being like petrified. And my dad, who lives in New Jersey, he was picking me up. I don't know, maybe to take me to the airport. He sometimes does that. And he's texting me that he's downstairs. I'm panicking. So I literally like wake this girl up. I'm like, you got to get out of here. And she's like, what? You know, when you're startled and you're like hungover.
But I won the dating.
Yeah, exactly. Catherine dubbed me. And so I literally like pack this girl up quickly and start ushering her. I'm like, I'm sorry. I've got to go. I've got to ride downstairs. But really, it's mostly guilt. And I open the door, push her out. And she's like, well, wait. I don't even know your name. And I go, it'll be a fun mystery. I slam the door in her face. And because I wasn't trying to be a jerk, but like, I don't know. It's what came out. I was like, I'm always cracking jokes, whatever. And I was trying to remember. Yeah, she didn't. Also, I remember why I didn't feel as bad about being a little sassy, because all night she kept playing like she was the player. She kept being like, oh, yeah, because I'm an asshole, she kept kind of referring to herself in her own game, and so in that moment, I would kind of felt a little bit,
So that's your story.
Yeah. No, gets
Okay,
better.
okay.
Okay, I'll try to condense because we're probably low on time. I'm a little verbose, sorry. So cut to a year later.
Uh-huh.
I don't know this girl. I don't have her information, and I always felt bad about what I did to her, even though that was kind of funny. A year later, I'm back in New York. Different hotel room. I'm at the Ace Hotel with the same girl I went to Tokyo with, Erin. It's midnight. I'm single at the time. That relationship did happen. Epically failed a year later, and now I'm single again. I'm on Tinder. It's like midnight. This girl's picture pops up on Tinder, and I swipe right, and she swipes right at exactly the same moment, and we match. And I'm like, Erin, because we're sharing a room, I'm like, holy shit, this is the girl that I ghosted a year ago. We just matched. And so I messaged her immediately, and I'm like, and I actually felt really contrite. I was like, I'm so sorry. I owe you an apology. I threw you out of my hotel a year ago. I didn't even tell you my name, but it wasn't because you weren't nice. You were adorable, and I liked you, but I was nervous and guilty because I was seeing someone at the time. And please let me take you to dinner and make it up to you. So, and she was like, oh my God, no, that's cool. I was wondering, I went back to the cubbyhole and, never saw you again. And I told her I lived in LA. And so we made a plan to meet up the next night, and we did. And we ended up having a romantic encounter. I ended up, because I was sharing a room with Erin, I remember I got my own hotel room because I was like, sorry, E, I'm going to bail on you and get my own room because I think this might work out. Mm-hmm. We ended up hooking up, having a really lovely time. And even to the point where like we went to brunch the next day. And
All right, get to the point. Get to the real point.
gets to the point.
Yeah.
She ends up fucking ghosting me.
Okay. I knew it.
Really nice time.
What was her name?
Megan. I don't remember her last name.
Did she have a line? Did she have a cool line?
Yeah,
like
when
you
she
had?
ghosted you, did she fucking
No.
It'll
thought
be a
about it for a
fun
whole
story.
fucking year?
I went back. She actually sent me a really nice text. So I went back to LA, sent her just like a normal text, like just keeping in touch. Nothing. Crickets.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is we had Mike Favorman on this podcast sitting in your exact seat. And Mike told this story. Oh, yeah. I know. Mike told this story about how he was at a bar and there was a
You just want to make me uncomfortable again,
no,
don't
there
you?
was a woman who was drinking but she was mentally challenged. And then at the first bar, somebody was like, "Dude, leave her alone, move on." And then he goes to another bar, and then he meets that woman again. They end up having sex, and then the next morning she leaves, and she's like when you're walk of shame, right? And he gets in his car. He's on the freeway, right? He's going into the freeway, and it starts raining, and he sees her, and he doesn't stop, and he gets on the freeway. And I was just thinking to myself as you told me the story of when you ghosted her, like, why do I sit here and accept it if a woman says something shitty about how they treat another person? But Mike Favorman, I was like, fucking piece of shit. But with you, I'm all like, oh, ha, ha, ha.
You're a sexist, man.
I know, but that's what I was sitting here
That's why I
thinking.
told you. I said I would probably be okay with it if it was a woman during that other podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's not right, but
But
Yeah.
in my defense, I redeemed myself. I apologized, and it was heartfelt. And she also got revenge, so we can all feel good about
I
ourselves.
know,
Right,
but,
but you didn't even
it'll
know
be a
her
mystery.
name. She
Slam the
didn't
door.
know
Okay,
her
Fuck,
name.
dude. That's retarded girl on the over ramp, and it's raining, and you don't stop. That's the same fucking thing.
Is it also bad that my friends and I made wanted posters, like as a joke?
Yes.
My friends were like, "These are going to be up at the cubby hole."
Holy
They
shit.
super like as a joke. My friend, I told her the
Right.
story.
Interesting. Wow.
She's fine. She was the player. She did it to
And
many
I will
before
say
me.
too that Jess told both of her stories to Mike mostly.
Oh,
You did, which is fine.
I just have that face.
he's
It's
just my
just-
safe place.
Right. There's a lot of eye
Ah,
contact with
yeah,
Mike, and she was telling them both to him.
Okay, yeah.
Now, she gave us a little bit more eye contact on the second story, but she totally was avoiding us
It's not
on the first
intentionally.
story.
Yeah, people online said that too.
Wow.
But she is also a little bit nervous
Totally.
to be around you guys.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
she said prior to coming in here,
I was like, I'm so glad Falzone the Calzone's here today.
you seek out the Italian people.
Totally. Yeah.
I
Me,
get
You're nervous to be with me and Felicia?
I'm just nervous to live.
See what you do to people.
So that's
No, it is.
interesting.
It's
So
my first time.
your stories are okay. You know what we're gonna do? Are there any questions?
No, Ken does. He says that he could see Catherine doing something like that, and apparently they're good friends. And Raver Basher says, "Can you one more time describe Arissa and small of her back, thighs, things like that?" But no, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, so what we're gonna do is, Michael, do you have anything you would like to add to the conversation?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know everything that I know about you, as far as like how sweet you are, because she ghosted you, but you kind of poltergeisted her. You like pushed her out, right?
Yeah.
Like-
There is a difference.
There is a big difference.
Yeah, it wasn't like just like a disappear, clean getaway. So I guess if I had to pick what seems most out of character for what I know about Jess, I guess the second one does feel like maybe I couldn't see her doing that.
Oh, well, that's nice. I like
It's
that.
okay.
I like that rationale.
Can I make a comment about your
Of
second
course,
story?
yeah.
Can I
Yes,
stop
yes.
you?
I think the second one is bullshit because you turned down a threesome like that. Like, oh, blonde twins? Yeah, nope. Who else we got? That's crazy
Yeah.
to me.
That is a good point.
I like
That is
it.
very
So
good point.
do you think that you are a player? Like, are you for a lesbian a player? Like, I don't know.
Are you
Like,
showing off your fingers?
You know, this is genuinely a difficult answer because I've been in mostly long-term relationships, like
okay.
9 years, 8
Oh,
years,
really?
3 years.
okay, but in the middle you get all sloppy.
But in between,
In the middle you're like, I'll scissor with anybody, any of these bitches.
I make the most of that fucking time in between. So
Okay, fair enough. All right, so why don't we have Austin go over Mike's first story really quick, and we'll take a vote on Mike's first story.
And real quickly, guys, online, if you'll vote now, I'll tally you guys up before we all vote ourselves on Mike's story. So story 1, he is both a child and a grown man that loves professional wrestling, especially Bret the Hitman Hart. All he wanted when he was 8 and at a wrestling show was the wrestlers to slap his hand when they enter, but his hero Bret Hart gave him his glasses, and that thrilled him so much he peed his pants in front of the Canadian hero. Story 2, his high school nickname was Struggles the Clown because he was
Not the
Not-
clown.
not
You're
the
adding the clown. You added the clown, and now it hurts all over again.
Struggles was not super
You
great.
see him with his little sidekick, Struggles and Bubbles.
I love struggles.
You should go as Struggles Falzone.
That's a good idea.
It's pretty good. We got to stand out.
And Falzone's real, right? That's a real name?
Do you think that's a stage name?
Yes.
Because Italians are getting so much work.
Yeah, it's
I
true.
gotta change it. Sopranos are really popular. Who can I be? Holy shit.
When I tell my girlfriend, I mention your name on occasion, she's like, every time you say that, I think Donald Faison and Calzone.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Good company.
So Struggles was not super great at most things, but especially sports, and his baseball coach once told him to go grab some balls and throw them in the outfield, so he leans down to grab some out of the dugout, hits his head on a rusty sharp thing, and makes his face just start bleeding, and his coach called him Struggles, and then he cried the rest of high school pretty much.
Yeah, more or less.
Well, I want the wrestling story to be true, though. It's such a cute story, even though you peed yourself. He probably didn't even notice.
And being a musician, it's hard to see you being
Yeah.
so uncool.
Yeah, very true.
Right? You have to be cool to
What,
be a musician.
what instrument did you play?
I played guitar and I sang.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you were a singer, though. You
yeah.
have to be a little wimpy.
I'm gonna say I think that's so. I'm gonna say, and we're all gonna take a vote. You're gonna vote too.
Okay.
I'm gonna. You vote first.
Well, only because he said he was a singer as well. Because like all I can imagine is those guys playing the acoustic and really getting on my fucking nerves. At the parties, you know what I mean? You know the one. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Wouldn't it be great if you just took out a guitar?
Yeah. Let me sing a song about what you mean.
Let me mansplain to you in verse.
And how it really hurt me. I'm gonna say that the second one's true. I'm gonna say the first one's a lie. I'm gonna say that the wrestling is a lie.
Do I wait for everyone to vote before I say something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Only because you said you were a singer too. If you had just been a guitarist or a bass or drummer or something like that, I think that would have been a lie.
Okay.
That's the only thing I'm basing it on.
I like your reasoning.
I mean, it's very specific.
And you said plausible. The thing plausible when you were asking questions. Oh yeah, that could be plausible. So.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
were you always wearing enough sweatbands to make them look like socks if you needed to in a jam?
I don't know. Well, what's always?
When somebody online mentioned that had to be a lie because you didn't mention how blistered your feet were from not wearing
Yeah, you
socks.
brought
and
up
out
But he
running.
didn't get to
Sand.
start.
Yeah, but even if you wear
Oh,
wear
that's
socks
right,
with
he
tennis
didn't-
shoes,
You don't get a ton of blisters on the bench. You know?
maybe.
That's a lot of sweatbands, though. Like, you were always, like, at least
No,
two
no.
deep on each arm?
Sweatband, like forearm sweatband.
And he
it was
didn't-
like this.
Yeah.
Did you have like regular socks? You just didn't have your baseball socks?
I had like the socks I went to school with, which would have been like ankle
Exactly,
socks, but
right?
not like
Since
my
he was
Yeah.
wearing
blue
that
knee
the-
high.
Right.
Yeah.
The other day. So it wasn't like he was completely without socks.
Right.
Okay.
But why would he? Yeah, but then why would he bring up the thing about baseball sand and all that if he had socks on and that little tidbit? That's
well,
weird.
because still,
No.
the
yeah.
the judge.
I like the
God.
details, but I still think he's embellishing the lie.
Oh, so you think the second one is a lie?
I'd like to register my vote. And
Yes.
I believe
Okay.
that
You have to sign in
struggles-
online, and you have.
You know the
Yeah.
expression, the struggle is real, the struggle's not real. In my opinion.
I didn't know we were all doing catchphrases.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
wow.
The struggles be fake.
And so, Mike, you think which story is the lie?
Well, here's what else I'm thinking is it would be an easy thing to add to go because it's kind of iconic, the giving away the sunglasses thing. Maybe he did get to slap his hand, but he just didn't get the glasses.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
See?
I'm gonna go ahead and say I think that fuck. I think that the first. What are you going with, Felicia?
God, it's so difficult, but dungarees, like, who remembers fucking when they were a little
When my
kid, like,
mother's-
I
my
have my
mother's-
dungarees
My
on.
mother still calls them dungarees. To
It's a
this day.
generational
Oh,
thing.
now that is a little bit of a ding because he was like 15, 16. Would you still call him dungarees?
No,
No,
not
no,
at
he,
all.
no, he
Different
was
story.
Oh,
8.
that's right
He was
then.
8 or something,
But yes,
right?
he did still call him that when he was 15. That's why they called him Struggle.
Yeah.
Just started calling them jeans. Just
I was
now.
gonna- he's wearing dungarees now.
All right, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say the wrestling one is a lie. What are you gonna
I'm
say?
going to say the
Austin?
wrestling one's a lie. Also.
Okay.
Oh,
What do
you
you
guys are with me?
I don't know. What do you say?
I think the wrestling story is true. That sounds like roadshow magic. If
I'm
I
with
had
you.
All right.
to. And everybody online has voted. Well, not everybody. Some folks have. Ken actually just switched because of the blisters thing. So he is now saying that the first story is true, and so is Lindsay. In promo, Leah thinks that the first story is a lie.
Interesting.
And somebody said, shout out Smithtown Water Department. Does that mean anything to
Nope.
anybody? Okay.
Not a thing.
How can you read accents?
Well, because it says Water Department.
Oh.
So.
Is that
You know what,
is
I'm
that
gonna-
code for vagina? as
I'm
well?
the, no,
That's
that I've
another
heard.
lesbian bar, the Smithtown.
I'm
I
gonna
think
switch my
Smithtown
vote.
Water Department. I
You're
think
gonna
my
switch?
my
I'm gonna
third
switch
story
my
takes
vote.
place in the Smithtown Water Department.
I'm switching my vote. I'm gonna say I'm I'm gonna go
So-
with Ken. I'm gonna say the second story is the
Well,
lie.
now Ken's switching.
So
back
who
to
says
the
oh,
little
oh,
bastard.
What is happening?
Ken's stressing me out because I got to start picking whatever Ken's not. Us going together, we
Ken
fail
doesn't know
every time.
Catherine. Ken's
Yeah.
playing the game. Ken's
you
lying
think
too.
it-
I'm gonna
Yeah.
say the struggles thing is still the lie. I think it happened to someone else
The
and not you.
struggle is real.
The struggle is not real.
It is real.
Okay. All
The-
right. So we ready? Did you vote?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that Bret
First
Hitman
story
Hart
is a
story is true.
lie.
Okay. I think the first story is true. What is the
You do
lie?
think the first story is true?
Yeah.
So now the three of us are all first story, and you're still voting second story is true.
She always wins.
Well, not always.
Oh, all right.
Okay. What is the lie?
You say you always win?
Not
Just
always.
tell us the fucking lie.
The first story
Oh!
is the lie.
Is the lie? Damn it!
Damn it, Struggles!
Yes.
You can't call me that anymore. I won.
I will never call you that anything else as long as we know one
I'm
another.
on the
How many
board.
cool details though in the first one?
Yeah. Wait, so was I right about you getting to slap his hand, but you didn't get the glasses?
I slapped his hand. I did not get the glasses.
Oh my God! Evans for the win.
I touched his leg. I didn't even slap his hand.
What a touch.
But I still peed my pants. Who's in?
Oh. So a lot of it was true.
Aw.
Yeah.
But
That's good.
dungarees?
That's what my dad calls
Oh,
him.
That's an East Coast thing. You know, to your credit, I was like, "There's no way Falzone's not good at sports." I'm like, "Hell no."
Thank you so
Really?
much.
Thank
Thank you.
Ernest.
Junior Olympic baseball team.
Really?
Didn't play a goddamn minute in basketball. Pretty good at baseball.
You're good at baseball, right?
Yeah,
You're
I
very
was.
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
I could see
yeah.
you look like a baseball player.
Thank you so much.
That's why I wasn't believing.
I
those
could spit on some
struggles.
grass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
but he doesn't mention baseball in his website. He mentions
Shortly stop. That was my position.
Shortly stop. Oh, that's good.
all right. So
all comedians.
we're going to
That's
move
good.
on, and now you're going to tell the next round of stories real quick.
Story one for Jess. She took a last-minute fancy trip to Japan, and the last few nights she was there, she was alone, but was feeling a little extra fancy, so she got a nice room. Then she went and checked out the gay scene called Goldfinger, where she sang lesbian ballads at a karaoke place. And she tried to hit on a non-English speaking girl, but luckily there was a translator there to help. So they go to a little secret lesbian bar called Rabbit Holes, then go to a Madonna bar, where she invites the two Asian ladies back to her fancy hotel, and doesn't hook up in front of the tranny, but gets busted by her anyway.
Translator.
Translator.
Yeah. Just say translator.
Yeah. Well, that's slang, right? Tranny is translator.
No,
Is that
not
okay?
really.
It's slang, all right.
So that's the first story.
Oh, no.
Story two.
Jesus, Austin.
She's on another fancy trip, this time to New York's Cubbyhole, and she's with Catherine Narducci from Bronx Tale fame, who is a straight actress, but she tried to match Jess up with other lesbians and finally found one that she could take home and make out with, neglecting
I
her.
feel uncomfortable about women objectifying women like that.
No,
She was trying to help
we
out.
can't be friends. It was nice while it lasted.
Unless you want to be the sexy friend.
I was gonna say. That's true.
So she's making out with this stranger, neglecting her at-home almost girlfriend, and then boots the chick in the morning with a zinger and
A zinger. What was that zinger?
it was
It'll be a fun story.
it'll
Yeah.
just
It'll
be a fun mystery.
Mystery, yeah.
And
I am
The
going to
mystery
use that
spot.
somewhere, though.
that might be our new tagline. It'll be a fun mystery. So she boots the chick, blah, 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 until a year later she's back in New York and Tinder matches with the ghosted girl. She apologized, they hook up, and then this girl ends up ghosting her in a sweet moment of revenge.
In a polite way, though. She just didn't text back.
Yeah.
She was just like, this is how you ghost people, bitch.
Mhm.
Right? She didn't send you like an emoji door.
No zinger.
Yeah. She should have just videoed,
Yeah.
like, slamming the door.
That's funny.
Wow.
They deserved it.
That's interesting. It's interesting that your stories aren't, I mean,
Are both offensive?
You did
no. Aren't that they're kind of this, about your prowess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a
You did sleep with the Asian woman?
Do I have to answer this? I currently have a girlfriend.
Well,
Yeah, but
that's
this
all
was
right.
the
She knows
past,
your-
right?
Nobody's listening.
We had a romantic encounter.
Yeah.
Okay, that was right. And then you just
Your
emailed
girlfriend
a few
wouldn't get
times.
upset by that.
I told her she can't listen to this already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, not because
She was like, whatever, fine.
you can't listen to me. Pick up every fucking chick on the planet.
Was it
Around the world.
Did you have a good time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No question.
In the first story,
Mhm.
there just happened to be a translator at the bar where 12
no.
people were at.
She was not like a translator, like official UN. She was
Yeah.
just the only English-speaking person of the group. She worked in finance. She just studied in America, so she spoke English.
You see, but the Japanese, I think a lot of them take English classes.
The Japanese.
Japanese.
You know what they say about the Japanese? Most of them take English
I didn't know that Wellington's role was like very much like the consultant in this. Like, I haven't listened to enough
Of
episodes to
anybody in
realize
this room, I would imagine
she is
Jessica
like-
knows the least.
she's like the fucking staff expert
I
on
bet she knows more than
every
most people.
every topic.
Yeah.
She's like ants, as a matter of fact.
What else do you know about the Japanese?
They had kamikaze pilots.
Yeah.
It's the second best lesbian bar in the Nicom district.
Is it really?
No.
Okay.
And you know their national
No.
anthem. Ho, 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 ho.
That tanked.
Yeah. See, it's not funny. It's not
funny.
fun. It's not funny.
If
You
that had
laugh.
just been playing in the background, that might have been funny.
I could have pulled it up.
I know.
Yeah. It is.
Sorry.
It is.
So it's an effort thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the
We're-
Japanese are a very stoic people. And
Wow, that's the first time I ever heard you use the word stoic. Okay.
and they like to be smarter. They're the smartest of the Asians.
Oh, man.
There's science to prove it.
I would like to
Now we're gonna get
remind-
letters from the Chinese.
I would like to remind everybody that things that are said on this podcast should not be a reflection upon the Comedy Store. Okay, everyone. Okay.
Well, they like to be number one. Japan.
I think it's fair to say that they are ambitious.
Yes. So I feel like a lot of them would have spoken English, at least some, and more than just pretty Cameron Diaz. Or whatever that she said.
Well, and somebody brought up, if it was only 3 years ago, why didn't you just use like your phone to translate?
That's very true.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause who the fuck wants to do that? Right?
See
Isn't
how
that
we
a lot
have
of
to
work?
take an
The reason-
ugly circle to get to the
We
good
did-
part.
we-
No, all these racist comments have a goal.
We're all heading somewhere.
I did use my phone, but more for the emails. We use
Oh,
Google
okay.
Translate. Like, it's not, if you've
Yeah,
used
probably it's
Google,
not very
it's not
accurate is what I
practical.
was
Like when
assuming.
you're trying to have
Why
a
you could have? She
conversation.
could have typed something and you could have passed back the phone back and forth.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
as your girlfriend's soon-to-be girlfriend's picture comes up on it as your screensaver.
Right.
All right. So, well, what do you think, Jessica?
Well, I guess because of that, I think the Japanese story's false.
Based on those facts,
In summation,
Ken Lofgren just quoted.
I just peed a little more.
Cherry piss my pants.
Ken Lofgren just wrote in quotations of the Asians. Y'all think my kung fu fighting's bad?
Oh, it's terrible.
my
Anyway, so
I watch Bobby Lee a lot, so
It's okay.
that's what he said.
he said what?
if they like his dad used to rate the Asians from 1 to whatever.
Uh-huh.
So it was like Japanese were always
Uh-huh.
number 1.
Okay. Anyway.
This kamikaze pilot's going down
that
fast.
might be Bobby Lee's story to share, not yours. Okay. I'm just saying.
Let's bring him out.
I actually listened to Bobby's episode to prep for this. Where he opens by saying something like, what does he say? Like, I'm half Asian and half Down syndrome.
Yes.
That's what he opens with. He's crazy.
Raver Basher said he's watching Asian porn tonight. Thanks, guys.
Oh, come on. Let's be kind. I don't
That's
know
a
why I had to.
compliment.
I know, but I hope we don't get in trouble. So, what do you think, Mike? Which one is the lie?
The whole time I thought the second one was the lie, but I don't know why the first one would be the truth. Like, there's nothing that jumps out about the first one where I'm like, that's totally the
Yeah,
truth.
and I can't imagine in Tokyo, even if you got a discount for what hotel was that? The
Peninsula?
Peninsula, that it's the penthouse is still only $400.
Oh, no, it wasn't a penthouse. It was just a suite.
Oh, I thought you said it was
Yeah,
like
no,
a
it's just a
She
penthouse.
did say sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
did say
suite
that.
But still,
overlooking the
it's so
Palace Gardens.
expensive there. It's so.
I mean,
it's
I
crazy
could be wrong. It might have been
expensive.
5, but it definitely wasn't more than 5. I mean, what kind of money do you think I
Ken didn't think that the price of the plane ticket checked out.
Yeah, that seemed very
Yeah.
low.
I mean, I don't know. I've never
Yeah.
flown that far, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna say what do you think, Michael?
I'm wondering if what's weird. I didn't realize that it wasn't like an official translator type of person involved. Like so this woman that you weren't really getting involved with, and in fact, she's just getting in the way mostly. She still rolled to you to the suite.
Mm-hmm.
She seems kind of straggly, third wheelie. Like, was that? That's the only reason I'm thinking I could maybe not believe the first stories because that just seems like a strange setup and dynamic of people
Right,
to
and
roll
at that
out.
point,
Okay.
you don't need the translator once you get her to your room.
Right.
Right, like you just like, see you later, lady. Thank you.
Yeah.
I couldn't even invite Arissa without. That's the problem.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you
but
say,
I think it's also, and maybe this is my being fucked up, is like if it was a situation where it would have been like her friend and you were a guy,
Mhm.
I could see that behavior of doing that because you want to be protective over your friend when it comes to a man, but then I don't think I would do that if I was a
you know
woman.
If
you
you
know
were
what?
jealous, though, like if she said that the translator was like also into her, but she wasn't reciprocating, then you
Uh-huh.
want to ruin everyone's time because you're the third person not getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if this is a lie, that means she had to make up the name Arissa.
Oh.
And that, my friends, is
Yeah,
racist.
we don't like that at all.
My first and last appearance on this show.
You know what? Maybe on that, I might have to go second one's a lie now. Maybe
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no way she would make up Arissa, and if she did, that's
Yeah,
pretty
I
fucking
think
funny.
But she did just do that voice right before she said Arissa. She did change her L's
Yes.
to R's to kind of mock it a little bit. So
Yeah.
she might have just been going along with the joke.
But she has been doing the joke. That's part of
That's-
her,
yeah.
like, I've seen you do the joke a bunch of times. So I could see you.
This is actually.
It's a different.
We're just running
It's
bits.
a different racist joke, but yes, you have seen me do a Japanese.
What is that when
Yeah,
people
yeah.
get together to confront someone?
An
intervention.
It's an intervention. You gotta stop doing that racist fucking bit.
There's no cameras right now. We're just telling you about your
Yeah,
bit.
right.
I'm
It's
gonna
all very
say
elaborate.
my
intervention.
gut tells me that the second one, there were a lot of like things that didn't add up for me in the second one. So I'm gonna say the second one was false.
I too am gonna say second one is a lie.
Really? I'm gonna say I kind of feel like I'm a little stuck on the money and getting a ticket right away to go to Tokyo, and it was only $1,000.
Less than.
Yeah, because sometimes when you get a ticket the day before, you do get lucky, and you're like, "Fuck, I thought it would be like 3."
Yeah, but then Border Patrol's not like, why
What
are
are you
you?
I
talking
mean, I
but-
wasn't going to
Because they
like
say
through
that people-
Texas.
What?
Border Patrol.
No,
What do
yeah,
you mean
fly-
Border
when-
Patrol?
I
When
don't
you
know.
fly out, you have to go through customs and stuff when you fly in and out. And a lot of people, when they go by themselves and fly only for a day or two, they stop them because they're like, "Oh, are you drug trafficking? Why are you
Oh,
just
that's
going for a
interesting.
day by yourself?"
Oh.
But she wasn't going just for a day. She went for
week.
A week.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Yeah.
said a short little trip.
No,
That's
no,
all.
it
And
was
she wasn't by herself, right?
Correct.
You were with Aaron.
Oh, I thought you meant her there.
Someone was listening.
Sorry.
So-
So I'm doing a lot over here. Okay, give me a break.
So when you just took off When you just took off to Tokyo for a week,
Yeah.
who took over the plastic surgery business?
So that's exactly why we were able to go last minute. Our boss was out for the week, and so Erin was already going.
Oh.
She popped into my office. She's like, "When are we ever able to go? Because he's out
And
next
why
week."
was she going there?
Oh, just for pleasure, just for fun.
Yeah.
And we love to travel, but we never get to travel together because one of us usually has to stay and hold the fort down.
Mhm.
Huh.
So this was a unique
A couple
opportunity.
people online are saying, no way is Arissa a Japanese name.
Oh, I like that.
Well, but couldn't it be a name that somebody Japanese chose for themselves
Yes.
to interact with America? Because that happens, right? You ever like
Yes.
talk to someone in customer service on the phone and they're like, I'm not going to do an accent, but they'll say their name is like
Do an
Jap.
accent, Mike.
And you're like, I
have-
know
but
you're not Jap.
You guys, I have a Japanese girlfriend named Natalia.
You have a girlfriend?
Not, she's my girlfriend. Yeah.
Her friend.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like
Named
we're
Natalia.
girlfriends.
Yeah. This is where we should totally make out right now. We should just that moment like. I'm gonna say the second story is a lie. I think that the second story. I think both stories did happen. I think the second story, you have changed the characters around, and you're not the character that you're saying you are in the second story.
All right, guys. You feel like you do what you got to do. Whatever.
And you think the first story is a lie.
I do.
Oh my god, I
I
do
kind of
too.
think the first is a lie.
Okay. Oh, I'm totally gonna fuck up.
She's
All right.
intense.
So, what is?
Leah, Ken, and Raver and Lindsay all think her first is a lie.
Oh, now I'm going against everybody.
That's
Except
okay.
for everybody in this room.
Oh, okay. We're together. And Mike, you say the.
Yeah, he's with you.
Yeah, wait.
Okay.
I know I agreed with you. What do we say? Second story is a lie.
Second story is the lie.
Okay,
The
I got,
ghost
yeah,
thing
I'm cool
story.
with second
We're
story is a
saying
lie.
ghost
That's
thing.
what I feel
think,
best
first
about.
is a lie.
Yeah, I think the second story is a lie. It did happen. I think it's the characters. Got
Does the whole
switched.
internet disagree with us? That does feel shitty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
That's
All
scary.
right.
They're
okay.
seeing things we don't.
Well,
But
Godspeed.
nothing new. So which one is the lie?
First story is a lie.
Yeah.
You guys can suck it, dude. Just suck it.
I no longer trust my gut.
No, in everyone's defense, there was
In everyone's.
there was.
You
except
started
my-
this.
Yeah.
No, there was a kernel of truth. I did meet a girl, and her name was Arissa.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, that was the real part.
Yeah, that was the real part.
And the translator and the whole thing, that was a
The trip
complete-
was true, and like all those details. I figured if I had something that was, had some true details, but and there was one person that spoke English, but there wasn't a love triangle. No one came back to my suite. There was no romantic
Oh, so
encounter.
you bought
There
that
was
big
no-
fancy suite just for yourself?
Shit went empty.
You wore 3 robes.
Yeah.
You just walked around.
You guys, when she goes, and we texted back before, they were so cute. Wow, you guys have been awesome storytellers. Thank you so much for joining us
This was
here
so much fun.
at the Liars Club. Where can people catch what you're up to next?
I've got a few shows coming up. I'm going. I got into the Midwest Queer Comedy Festival and the
Nice.
Motor
Wonderful,
City
wonderful.
Comedy Festival
Oh,
in Detroit
great,
and Louisville. Going
great.
back to New York next month to do some shows there. Just trying to hit the road as hard as I can.
Where can they find all those dates and stuff? Like on your Instagram?
Yep. Instagram is at Jess Inserra, Inserra. It's kind of a tough name to spell, but yeah, I post all my dates there, and I'll be back at the store pretty soon. I'll be back in a few weeks. So
Nice.
yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank
And what
you.
about you?
Everywhere on the internet at Mike Falzone, like Calzone with a F, Falzone. And I have a crowd work show that I run at the Laugh Factory, and that's on August 5th.
It's a great show.
Yeah, man, it's fun. We got Andrew Santino and Ian Edwards, Rachel Scanlon, and
Oh,
Renee
wow,
Baca
good.
and me.
Wow, wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
www.struggles.com.
slash Hitman.
And Michael, where can people find you?
You can find me at High Five Michael on Instagram. You can find me tomorrow here in the Belly Room
Yes.
for the Liars Club live episode. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have.
we
Christina
just had-
P and
We just have
fucking-
Brendan Schaub confirmed as well.
Hell
Oh,
yeah. What a show.
Yes, yes, and Jamie Kennedy.
And Jamie Kidd. Well, we
Ah,
love Jamie.
Yeah.
I'm seeing Jamie
We love
tonight.
Jamie.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's
Yeah,
really
I just did a
awesome.
show with him, first time ever with him.
Is he
I
a
was
sweetheart?
stoked. Yeah, he's a doll.
He's really kind, very
Super
kind
cool.
gentleman. And what about you, Austin?
I'm the Austin Walker on everything. Follow our Twitter, which is Liars_Club, and our Instagram, the Liars Club 1. Subscribe to our YouTube, of course, and all that same old stuff.
Wonderful. And for you people that are listening instead of watching, know that we go live at the Comedy Store YouTube Mondays at 4:30ish and most Fridays at 8:30ish. And like Michael said, we have our first Comedy Store show here, the Liars Club in the Belly Room, which is one of my favorite rooms in the whole country. It's the room I kind of started comedy in.
Super cool.
So it's really fun that we get to do that. And we have a show at the Ice House.
Oh, yeah, in like 12 days.
Yes.
Every second Friday of the month.
Yeah, exactly. And you can follow me all across the board at Felicia Michaels. And do me a big favor, if you have Amazon Prime, please go watch Pervs. It's my comedy documentary that won a prize for best documentary, and I'm very.
Oh, Jess, you'll be into it. You should watch it.
It's one of those projects I've worked on so long, and then when I finally got it done and like took time off of it, I'm like very, very proud of it. But if you could go,
But
watch
no
that.
women objectified in it.
Oh, no, there is. There's a
Oh,
woman.
yeah? Oh, that's why I like it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
We made sure.
Just checking.
But if you could go watch it and leave a review, that would just be awesome. And Jessica?
Yeah, thank you guys. Follow me at Jess Wellington 2 on everything. You guys have been wonderful. Anybody else got something to say?
Just that we appreciate your viewership. We appreciate the people that are coming on and playing the game with us. We just want you to know that we've been doing this a year now, and we're so excited how the podcast has grown, and it's because of people like you. Thank you very much, you guys.
Okay, that sounded like Sesame Street. Because of people like you. Is that it? I just want to make sure my thing doesn't get interrupted.
Okay.
Okay. Mike?
No.
Well, I have. All right. Sorry.
And you have been lied to.